This card is So what we're focusing on today is the EVGA RTX 2070 XC Ultra. Whew. This is a 3-slot overbuilt card because I don't care how much they put 2.75 card on the description, you simply can't use the last quarter of a slot for anything else. So in my book, it's a 3-slot card. This particular model is clocked beyond that of the overclocked Founders Edition and takes its PCB from the RTX 2080, so it's got beefed up power delivery, which is extremely overkill for a GT 106 class GPU. Oh yeah, there's RGB too. Unfortunately, I only had this card for a couple of days since it wasn't sent by EVGA or Nvidia, but rather a friend dropped it by on its way from Newegg to his home. So I needed to turn things over rather quickly and get it to him sooner rather than later. Fortunately, I had already started preliminary testing prior to the launch of the 2070 in anticipation for getting one in. But thanks to the absurdly low sampling rate, very few went out, leaving us in the out crowd on that one. So before we go any further, I want to make sure that you understand that this is in no way a full review of the EVGA RTX 2070 XC Ultra, but rather a personal journey in a very small amount of time. The lack of a 2070 being sent out, however, gave me a moment to think on the launch of the RTX 2070, since I was personally looking forward to this round of graphics cards as an opportunity to maybe upgrade my personal system that is still pumping along with my overclocked EVGA GTX 980ti that I've been perfectly happy with for quite some time now, gaming at 1440p. But I can tell in some of the more recent titles, it is starting to show its age. Now, since I already had the results finished up before the 2070 made its way here, I decided to toss my GTX 980ti with my daily overclock settings and see if, well, how a balls out 980ti still held up, or if it was really time to suck it up and get a new graphics card. The unfortunate part, thanks to the crazy pricing, this would mean possibly going down a couple tiers for around the same money spent. But if the performance increase was there, I really don't mind it from a personal standpoint. So the cards compared were reference models of the RX Vega 56 and 64, and the GTX 1070 and 1080 were Founders Editions. The RTX 2080 Founders Edition was thrown in to represent a higher tier and will carry the top of the charts. But at the bottom of the chart, you'll find my personal EVGA GTX 980ti running in my personal settings with a custom fan curve. Now keep that part in mind when you see the temperature chart, with the core clock of 1450 megahertz and the memory at an effective 8 gigabits per second. Both quite a bump over a reference 980 Ti spec, but not an uncommon overclock. All of the cards were tested with the latest drivers at the time of the video and run on the Z370 test bench with an Intel Core i5 8600K at 5 GHz along with 16 GB of DDR4 3200. At this point, I'm going to stop yakking for a bit and let you slide through the benchmarks and pause if you need to, and I'll catch you in the conclusion. So at the end of it all, the EVGA RTX 2070 on its own is simply a wonderful card. And it's damn near silent and runs incredibly cool, staying boosted well over 1900 megahertz through all of our testing without touching anything, and it easily beats out the GTX 980 Ti and pretty much everything. I mean, it should after all. It is, however, a bit behind the RTX 2080 and somewhat just ahead of the GTX 1080 most of the time. Maybe once the RTX functions in games become a thing, the pricing will make a bit more sense. But as it stands, I really don't see myself coming off of my personal GTX 980 Ti for my daily gaming needs, and maybe if I had more time with the card and could have tested more than just 1440p and had a chance to overclock the card and see just how far it would go, my opinion might change a bit. But as it stands, me and Maxwell will be hanging out for a bit longer still. So if you're still hanging on to an older card, what is it and why are you not giving up the fight just yet? Love to hear your take on it down in the comments section below. And as always, this has been Keith with WCCF Tech TV. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we don't want to miss you in the next one.